a periodical, repeated sequence of events. Periodically, the thing comes around again. Periodically, the thing happens all over again. It's a repeated cycle. It's a repeated series of events. I said, oh God, he says, this period, God, he said, this event that periodically happens. He said, is where we get the word menstrual cycle. I said, oh God, he said, and menstrual cycles, which is a periodical, repeated series of events, is commonly known as a period. I said, God, he said, Gerald, look at the word here. He said, if you look and notice verse 25, you'll see some very interesting things. Verse 25, and a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years, and had suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and nothing was better, but rather worse. I said, God, what? He said, Gerald, it all depends on who you connect to. I don't know how I feel the weight of this text on my back. He said, it all depends on who you connect to. I say, help me with it, God. He said, Gerald, tell them when they're in need of a breakthrough, they can ill afford to connect with somebody who has stellar faith. I said, God. He said, I need them to understand that if they're in need of a breakthrough, they can connect to people who have stellar faith. People who lack the ability to burn anything in their own life certainly can't burn nothing in your life. Excuse my double negatives. So he said, talk to the people and tell them, even in church, you can't sit by folk who don't have faith. You can't rub elbows with people that don't. You can't go into business with people who don't have faith. You can't marry folk that don't have faith. You can't, Lord, where is God? Church today, you can't connect to nobody that don't have faith, because one day they'll be okay and the next day they don't know who they serve. They don't know where they belong. They don't know what their name is. They all perturbed and disturbed. But God says, in this hour, if you're in need of a real breakthrough, you better learn how to connect to somebody who has a faith that can produce. I need somebody to shout, no stellar faith, no stellar. Now, the only thing, Pastor Ross Gibbs came up with the spirit that matrix. Listen, you cannot, oh God, connect with people who have stellar faith, but also you can't connect with people who have stellar praise. Some folk in church are just going through the motions. It's no power behind their praise. Praise, listen, and this, I'm digressing, this is not my subject now. But I need to tell you something. Praise has the power to make the earth yield its increase. And you praise God when the earth has to get up off of your stuff. And also, if you praise God right, it makes him migrate from the throne all the way down to where you are, because the Bible declares he inhabits the praises of his people. Who praise has power? If I had time, I'll take you to the book of Acts and deal with Paul and Silas as they prayed in the jail and made the whole jail shake and loose them when it had them bound. But not only loose them, but everybody that was in their general facility, because praise has power. That's why when people are praising around you, you need to get an attitude and say, why don't you sit down, and why you so loud? And sit down, I can't see the preacher. Homeboy, homegirl, you get it twisted. You don't understand. The more they praise, the more God gives you a breakthrough. I want to be somebody that got the good sense to praise God in the life. All right. Come on, have a seat. I got a little bit more information for you. So he says you can't be around stellar folk. I said, tell God. He said, Joe, whenever one needs to get pregnant or wants to get pregnant, two things are needed. I said, what's that, God? He says, Joe, a fertile get pregnant.
Come on.
Womb is indicative of reception, receive. Seed is indicative of giving or sowing. I need your prophetic minds working. So now if the womb is indicative of reception, it's ground. Seed is indicative of sowing, it's seed. Then I need to understand